Hey guys, I'm back, and today I'm talking about something that I've been thinking about talking for a while now. Originally, I was thinking about coming on here and talking about Netflix's new Masters of the Universe revelation. A lot of people have been talking about that lately, but I realized right before starting recording this that I really don't have much to say about it. There's nothing more than other people have said. I thought the series was okay. Most of the problems came from the fact that Kevin Smith just wasn't upfront about what the series is going to be. Let me know if you want a video from me for that. Maybe I'll do it. But today, I thought it'd be interesting to actually talk about a different show focused on a beloved hero. This show has been running for a lot of years now and just finished the craziest, most wackiest, cringiest season it has ever had. That, of course, is The Flash that goes on the CW. And let's be honest, CW, it's not known exactly for producing quality.
I need you to fix his suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be.
When if it's a woman.
But The Flash has always been one of those shows that everyone still, even with its ups and downs, have just loved. But this past season, both fans, it's done good on ratings for the most part, but as far as fan enjoyment, it's not. After finishing the finale, not too long ago, it was like last week, it just so much. So let's kind of do like a breakdown of this season as a whole. What's kind of like the ups and downs that has created this crazy mess called season 7. Now, some of this has to do with COVID-related things. As you know, season 6 ended very abruptly. It ended very early. Because of that, and a lot of that due to COVID shutdown stuff, they had to move all those episodes that they had already recorded, but they just hadn't finished production, like post-production on. They had to move all of those episodes to the beginning of season 7. So essentially, the first few episodes of season 7 is just wrap up for season 6. The only problem with this, and I think this is kind of a critique of season 6 at the same time, is that the season 6 villain wasn't all that great. They had an interesting power base and all, but Mirror Monarch, I guess what we called her, she was okay, villain, I guess. And the conclusion to that story arc was, I think, one of the most head-scratching, cringiest things is literally Barry and Iris talk her down and make her realize, hey, you realize how evil you're being? And then she go, oh yeah, you're right, I'm being very evil right now. And then to help her undo her evilness, they join hands, and I guess through the power of love and friendship or something, undo what she's doing. It was the most bizarre thing. I remember seeing this scene, and I was like inside, and probably a little outside. I was just kind of like cringing and laughing because it just looks ridiculous. I'm kind of up and down about Barry's curtain suit. On one hand, I kind of like how more superhero-ish it looks. On the other hand, it looks like pajamas. Some aspects I miss of the other older suits. Some aspects I like of this one, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, how that story arc ended was very bizarre. But that then led us into the whole story arc of introduction to these new forces. So they rebirthed the Speed Force, but in doing so, they also created 3 other new forces. One of which the name makes sense. You have the Strength Force, Super Strength, of course. But then the other 2, they're kind of weirdly named. I think they explain why they named them that, and it's from the comics, but the way they present it in the show, I don't get how they got there. So like, you have one which is the Still Force, and the reason they call it the Still Force is because the Still Force controls time. They said, well, he's making time stand still in one place, so he's the Still Force. If we're going literal, Speed Force, Strength Force, Time Force would make more sense, but I guess they figured if you heard Time Force, you would be thinking, well,
Time Force! Time Force!
And then there's the Sage Force, which I guess kind of makes sense, but again, the way they got there is just kind of like, stupid! But that whole story, there is a lot of potential there, right? Because you think, well, hey, these new entities, these new forces exist. Maybe we'll have more people like Barry, but except while Barry's the fastest man alive, we'll meet somebody who's the strongest person alive, the person who, you know, didn't have some time manipulation. I actually thought maybe they were hinting at, you know, this version of Harrison Wells, the timeless Wells, who can travel through time somehow. Literally was like, hey, yeah, I'm the original Harrison Wells because reasons the universe made me come back to life and I can travel through time. Again, very weird, very odd. But, you know, you just want to keep Tom Cavanaugh. But his time travel powers look similar to the Steel Force. So I thought maybe he's like, kind of like Barry, but on the Steel Force end of it. But no, they never explained that. You think, okay, you'll meet these other versions of like the Flash, but connected to these forces. But instead they go the route of, no, these people who gain these powers aren't just powered by the Force, they are the Force somehow. Like, I guess when the forces were created in the sky with the, you know, sky laser, they went into these people, and they all kind of have stories of like, yeah, their life kind of sucked previously, then they got this power, and now it's kind of less sucky, kind of maybe. Which I'm like, okay, they are these forces. That still could be a cool concept, and they kind of make the Speed Force a person now. Like, she's always showed up as Nora Allen, but now she's just Nora Allen. Now they even call her Nora, and it's super awkward because, and Barry, rightfully so, is just very awkward about it because it's like, okay, yeah, you look like my mother, you sound like my mother, you're not my mother. My mother was brutally murdered. But Iris, for some reason, thinks it's cool to just like, hey, Nora, come over for dinner, sleep in our house, you know, hang out with us. And Barry's like, what? Look, can we talk about this? You know, wife? Maybe we can think this through, but no, Iris, I'll go into Iris later. But and then they go into this concept like, well, Barry and Iris recreated the Speed Force using the power of their love, which that's a whole other stupid thing. Again, it all started with the whole Barry being the paragon of love back in Crisis. And if you want to know my thoughts on Crisis on Infinite Earths, I have a review up from years ago when it first came out. That kind of gives you an idea of how I felt about that crossover event. Yeah, they made it through the power of love, and not only did they rebirth the Speed Force, they created these other forces. So, in a sense, they are the mother and father to these forces, and in a sense, also the mother and father of these people who have become these forces. And now you go, well, in a metaphorical sense, yeah, kind of like, I guess, Vaughn creating Barry Allen, he, you know, constructed the incident in which it gave him the power. So he made the Flash. You can say in that sense, but you know, the show for some reason decides they're going to treat it in almost a literal sense. Like, oh yeah, you created us. You are their mom and dad.
Never judge your kids for who they are now. You help them become who they know they can be.
But it doesn't work because it'd been one thing if they were like the Speed Force. You know, you gotta do that with the new rebirthed Speed Force, because the Speed Force literally is just the entity who has materialized itself as Nora Allen. But these other forces, they inhabited these people and, you know, made them these force gods. They were people before this event. They had lives. They had a past. They were birthed by people, but for some reason they were like, oh no, yeah, we created you. We are like your mother and father. And they start calling each other bro and sis, and calling Barry and Iris mom and pop and all this stuff. And it's very weird and cringy and makes no sense, but they try to treat these lines of dialogue like they make sense, like they treat it with the utmost seriousness, but it doesn't work because the concept doesn't work and it just comes off cringy. Like, I don't get what the writers were thinking when they were writing this, why they went this direction. Literally, they keep pounding this whole family thing in like they're the Toretto family from Fast and Furious. Somehow it's less cringy in Fast and Furious.
One where you're not alone, where you're part of a family.
I got family.
This is also the same show that decided to make Barry and Iris effectively brother and sister and then have them hook up and get married. I mean, it's not wrong, still weird. It was very underwhelming. The whole family thing just made everything the characters do and say weird. Like, literally there's a scene where Caitlin literally tells Barry that, you know, that the strength force, I think that they called her Freza, they're saying like, oh, that's your daughter. Like literally, and they treat it completely seriously. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself on this, but it's an example, the biggest example of the season is just the writing. One, didn't make sense, and two, was just nonsensical. It was sloppy, but there's more to come with that. And then the resolution. I mean, Speed Force suddenly just goes evil, and they represent her going evil by her dyeing her hair and getting black makeup, like she's going through an emo phase. Apparently, she's just suddenly goth. If you're goth, that means you're going crazy and evil. And how they resolve it? Well, they talk her down, tell her like, hey, yeah, you think you want to kill us, but you don't want to be alone forever. Which is like, the Speed Force has been alone forever since the beginning of time, but now because I guess she has a personality now. And okay, but they talk her down. Everyone's hunky dory. The forces are all together in Barry's childhood home in heaven. Okay. And that leads us into 2 filler episodes. One dealing with Esperanza, I think that's her name, or girl that can do like the heat wave stuff, radiation waves, whatever she can do. Essentially, looks like Captain Marvel powers. They even have like a Captain Marvel moment. That character, she's been there. I don't have a problem with her. I just don't get why she's there. Like, she's there to be there. Are you gonna turn into a superhero, or is she just a character that's trying to have superpowers? She adds really not much to the story. Just like Chester, he is there to be like a replacement Cisco. He doesn't add much to the story. This is a short season. Like, the first part of the season is already taken up by the Mirror Monarch stuff, and now we're spending 2 of our really 15 episode season on this stuff. I don't know. And then the other one was like Cecile, and the fact that she's dealing with that she used to be in an insane asylum and she doesn't want to be crazy anymore, and she's dealing with like multiple personality disorder or something because of magic or something. I don't know. It was there, kind of pointless. Actually, it was 3 episodes because then they had the Cisco episode, which was his farewell, which I was fine with. It was a good send-off to the actor, but at the same time, this actor's been pretty much trying to leave for like the past 2 or 3 seasons. So it really wasn't like a shock or surprise. It really didn't matter because like 2 or 3 episodes later, he's back until the end of the show. Almost like he never left. And you're supposed to be surprised, oh, Cisco's back. But you were gone for like, what, 2 days? And then the last 2 or 3 episodes are all dedicated to Godspeed. And at this point, they're trying to, and they wrap it up all within those 2 or 3 episodes. Like, you meet Godspeed all in those 3 episodes. You don't even really get to know him as a character, but they try to have you take his character arc with the utmost seriousness. In which the finale is the best episode of the season, which is not saying much, but they just whip out some nonsensical stuff. They've completely changed what it means to be a speedster, and I don't think really in a good way, because at first it was like, okay, you're fast and you can move your body fast, and because you can move your body fast, there's all these different neat tricks you can figure out to use that speed, applying physics in which you can use these different abilities. And of course, the Speed Force lightning and stuff, you can integrate into that. But suddenly, they just changed it to, well, you could just use the Speed Force to just do anything. Like, it doesn't even have to really be related to speed. Like, suddenly they just have Green Lantern powers, and like Nora Allen, she can create electric whips. Bart Allen can throw like ninja stars, and Barry can just create a lightsaber. Like, Godspeed summons like lightning and creates his own lightsaber. People be like, oh crap, but this is something new. Is this some type of advanced trick? Like, because they've always done the zappy zaps. They used to have to run around and do it, but now they can just zap it. And you go like, well, this is just the evolution of their power. They can figure it out. I can accept that. But lightsabers? And Barry and Thawne, because they bring Thawne back to help out, they just do it. Godspeed summons like, oh, I have a lightsaber. They're just like, oh, we can do that? Okay. Lightsaber. It's like, okay, we can suddenly do this, and they have a lightsaber battle. Like, yes, that's what I come to watch The Flash for. To see this boy just clank some sticks together, and you add some, lightning effects in post. I mean, it's not even, it looks goofy, because you just got, this boy wearing these red pajamas, swinging this thing around. And they're slowing it down, trying to make it look epic, but it just looks downright silly. And then the actors themselves, most of them still, like, they bring their A game as far as they can with the material, but especially Iris this season. Iris West, like, I don't know the actress's name, but she, I don't know, in the past she has done decent, you know, even at the seasons in which she was annoying, you know, I always felt like the actress actually, you know, was bringing it. She was trying to make something out of this material. But this season, she was just distant. Like, literally the last few episodes, she was like phoning it in. She was just there, you know, and especially compared to Grant Gustin. Grant Gustin, he's a decent actor, and so you always see that he's trying to, you know, convey the emotion that he wants. For her, she gives like the bare minimum.
Iris?
There's even a point, literally early on in the season, like right after the whole, like, you know, forces thing, where the actress is just written out. Like, Dion, the still force guy, he shows up like, oh, Iris is like having some temporal displacement thing. I have to keep her in the still force so that she doesn't just like blurb out of existence or something, and she's gone. And you're thinking, okay, we're gonna come back to that and see what was causing that. But then she shows up like an episode or two later, and she's just back, and they give no explanation of what happened to her. I mean, I assume it was just a writing reason because the actress had some other obligations or something like that. You know, they've done this before, but they never explain what that whole temporal thing was.
How are you here? How is this possible?
Dion was able to stabilize me enough to come back until he can find a permanent cure.
Thank God.
Like, if you just needed a reason for her to be gone, you could have just had, like, oh, have an out-of-town journalistic thing to do for, like, a few days or something. I mean, would it be obvious? Sure. But, you know, it wouldn't at least leave questions like, hey, what was that whole temporal thing about, you know, with time and the still force? And that just kind of goes into the writing, man. Like, the writing this season has just been kind of like bare minimum and lazy. I mean, and you could blame COVID all you want about some of these things. You could blame it on, like, you know, the blockings of the scenes maybe, or, you know, some of the production stuff. But writing, dialogue should not be affected by COVID. All you need is a good writer. You know, a good writer would say, okay, this actress is not gonna be here. What can we write in to have an excuse for her not to be here? And it could literally just be as simple as, oh, she's on a business trip. She's gone for 2 days, she's back. Well, anything, really, almost anything. But writing in, well, she has some type of time disease that's like hurting her and it's gonna make her disappear throughout time, so she has to go to the still force. You can't just use that as a writing device to get rid of an actress for a few days and then never address what happened and just bring her back. Like, maybe they'll do it next season, but they never question it here. It's just, hey, I'm back, okay, go on to the Godspeed stuff. Like, the writing this season has been extremely weird to lazy. The acting has been weird. The ending with, like, the vow renewal, I don't know, it was just suddenly introduced, I guess, to address the fact that Iris and Barry never really had a wedding, and the wedding they did had was kind of like hijacked by Oliver and Felicity, so they had like a double marriage. Which, yeah, people weren't that much of a fan of, I guess. But it came out of nowhere, and it seemed more like just a reason to have Bart Allen's actor show off that he can sing. Which, yeah, you have an actor who can sing. We know that all your actors can sing. You don't hire actors who don't sing. We get that, CW. And it was long and drawn out and shot like a music video. It was weird. But yeah, season 7 was just insane and odd, unexplainably odd. I'm interested. I know there's rumors of maybe next season will be the last season. I don't know, but they got to get together because you have Stargirl, which is, I think, a really good show. You know, it was kind of a DC Universe show, but kind of co-opted by CW, so now it's a CW show. And then you have Superman and Lois, which is the best thing that ever hit CW, but again, it was also kind of produced by, you know, HBO Max. So yeah, Stargirl and Superman and Lois, two shows that are actually good. And then you have these shows which are kind of slowly dying off. I mean, you know, Flash is here, but who knows how long it's gonna be here. Arrow's gone, Supergirl's ending, Black Lightning's ending. Legends of Tomorrow, I mean, it has its fan base, but I don't know. Batwoman. That's just a dead corpse. You know, that's just CW working its super necromancy to keep that alive. So who knows how long that's going to be around. That's barely even a show. Do we even want to count Batwoman? Yeah, you can throw John Diggle in the episode all you want. But yeah, like, so that era of CW, DC is kind of seem like it's dying out. But hopefully, you know, Stargirl, Superman and Lois is kind of maybe ushering something new. And hopefully the Flash can get on the same page, maybe. Whether or not they're ending next season or doing something else, I don't know. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought about it. If you, you know, have your opinions on this past season. If you liked it, you disliked it. You know, do you think maybe they can recover from the next season? They really didn't have a stinger for this season, so maybe they're, you know, prepping for something new, something that's not going to tie them down. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Tell me what you guys thought about this season. Like, subscribe, share. You know, more likes, more the algorithm might put out some stuff, and maybe I can get more notice. And until next time, take care.